Thank you so much, everyone, for being here this morning. I'm Ashley Kennedy. I'm the Director of Technical Sales with Aprinnova. And we're gonna kick off today talking about biofermentation. Um, are you guys familiar with biofermentation, or is this a new topic for you? Yeah, kinda, a little? Okay, great. Um, so before we get into where biofermentation is really having an impact in our industry today, let's talk about kind of where we've been as an industry. So when we think about the industry and our ingredient sourcing, ingredients really had started, originally ingredients were extracted, right? When we think of the first ingredients we had extracted from nature, so from plants or animals. And nature is really great because it can provide us a wide variety of ingredients, very simple ingredients, but also very complex ingredients. Where nature falls a little short is when you look at the scalability and the sustainability aspects of extracting from plants or animals, because plants and animals are limited resources, right? We're going to run out. A lot of the plants and animals have become endangered or extinct because of ingredient sourcing. And so, as an industry, we recognize that as an issue. And where then we turned to petrochemistry. So getting ingredients from petrochemical sources was a huge innovation for ingredient sourcing. When you think of it, it enabled us to have a scalable ingredient process or ingredient manufacturing process. We can now make ingredients at a huge scale. We can make them reproducibly, consistently, but where it again fell short was on the sustainability front, not a renewable source. And so we see that there's a transition point in ingredient sourcing today. And that's really where biotechnology and biofermentation can lead us in the industry. And through biotechnology, instead of extracting ingredients, we're growing ingredients. And it kind of gives us the best of both worlds from historical. We're able to create complex ingredients, the same ingredients that you would see in nature. We're able to do it at scale, and we're able to do it on a consistent basis and through a sustainable process. It's much less resource intensive than extracting from the natural resources. And so that's where I really see biotechnology and biofermentation leading the way for our industry. And so I'm with Aprinnova. We're a biotechnology company. And as I just explained, we really see biotechnology and biofermentation as the future of beauty and clean beauty also. We're based in Silicon Valley in California in the United States. Silicon Valley is known for being a center of advancement, of technology hubs. You think of Apple, you think of Google. That same kind of technology and advancement we're also seeing in biotechnology as well. And Aprinnova, there are other biotechnology companies out there, but none of them have come close to meeting the accomplishments that we have met so far. We're the only company to have successfully scaled multiple ingredients to commercial scale. We've actually gone from idea of, hey, can we make this ingredient, to making it at a commercial scale 14 different times. There's no other biotechnology company out there that has done that. And we didn't start in beauty, to be honest. It really started for fighting malaria. And just as with some of those other technology startups, we started with 2 scientists in a garage. You hear the stories in the Bay Area from California of people just kind of tinkering around. And there were 2 scientists from University of California, Berkeley. And they were trying to figure out what could they do to have an impact on the world. And what they found is through a fermentation process they were able to make artemisinic acid, which is an anti-malaria drug. And they didn't invent this drug, it wasn't a new drug, but this drug was originally extracted from wormwood plants. And the wormwood plant wasn't always available, right, depending on the weather, the harvest. And so that means that there were often times that this malaria drug wasn't available for the people who needed it, and also that it fluctuated a lot in price. And so even if it was available, there were times that the people who needed it couldn't afford it. And so through this manufacturing process and through funding from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, we were able to make this anti-malaria drug at a lower cost and have it be consistently available. And so through this program, we've actually been able to provide over 120 million treatments royalty-free. So we license this technology for free now. And that idea of providing a sustainable solution to help better people and better the planet is really what our parent company and what Aprinnova strives to do. So this is how we started. Today, with Aprinnova, our focus is really on the beauty industry. And our mission is to help transform the beauty category by providing superior performing ingredients that are safer for the consumers, they're more sustainable, and also ethically sourced. And so you're able to have the high performance with no compromise. That's really our goal, is to help you and help the industry itself. And when we think about it, I heard just the other day that 8 out of 10 beauty ingredients are actually sourced through unsustainable methods, which I think just means that that's a huge opportunity for us and for you guys. And I think we're also seeing that in expectations of the consumers. So, here's a statistic we pulled about the Gen Z consumers expecting brands to do more to help reduce our climate impact. And really, they expect brands to do more, ultimately so that they can do more themselves. And we see that consumers are shifting their consumption. They're conscious of their choices and how those have an impact on the planet. And so they're looking for better alternatives. But of course, they want performance and sustainability, right? They don't want to have to sacrifice for sustainability. And that's where Aprinnova and through our biofermentation process, we're able to provide ingredients that provide both of those, that meet the needs of the consumers today. So fermentation, right? We've all kind of heard of it. What is it? We didn't invent fermentation, but fermentation uses yeast. Yeast you can think of like a living little factory. You feed the yeast sugar, and then they make a product. So you think of beer and wine, right? That's what we think of for fermentation. You feed the yeast sugar, they spit out alcohol. For bread, right? We use yeast for bread. You feed them sugar, they release carbon dioxide, which makes the bread rise, if you've done it well. I don't always succeed in that. And through our fermentation, we can deliver different types of products. And we've actually used fermentation to create products in 3 different buckets or applications. The first is health and wellness. So when we talked about that anti-malaria drug that we started with, we also have made products through fermentation for flavors and fragrances. And there's a big impact here because a lot of the fragrances in particular come from plants, right? So a lot of those plants are endangered or nearly extinct. And what's really amazing is that fragrances are very complex, and we're able to replicate what you find in nature through our fermentation process. And then the last bucket is our clean beauty bucket, and that's really where Aprinnova focuses in this bucket here. And so, if you asked me to summarize the main benefits of biofermentation, these are the three things that I would say. Through biofermentation, we're able to get high purity. We're able to pinpoint exactly the molecule that we want to make and make it at a higher purity than you may get when extracting it from a plant. We have lower impurity profiles. And then with that, we also see our ingredients have significant performance when you do clinical testing and consumer testing. Additionally, when we talk about consistency, right? We want to see consistency and quality. Fermentation is a very controlled environment, a very controlled process. And we've been working on this process for over 10 years now, so we know it very well. We're able to make very reproducible batches from lot to lot, and even over the last 10 years or so, very little variability. So you're going to be confident that you can get that high quality every single time. And then with fermentation, we use Brazilian sugarcane as our feedstock. Our fermentation plants are down in Brazil, right next to the sugarcane fields. And if you've ever seen pictures of Brazil, there's just sugarcane everywhere. So there's no worry about supply in the sense of the feedstock is always available. If we needed to, if there was something happened in the world and sugarcane was no longer available, we would still be able to use a different sugar source. Our fermentation process is so robust that it's not actually dependent on the sugarcane itself. We could use different sources if we needed to, so it's very versatile in that aspect. And then lastly, when we look at the sustainability aspect of biofermentation, it's much more sustainable than some other processes out there. We use fewer land resources, fewer water resources than other processes. And so one example I wanted to share with you today, one of the ingredients that we make through our biofermentation process is called our Neosance squalane. And Neosance squalane, or squalane in general, right? Again, we didn't invent squalane, but I like to say is we found a better way to make it. And people know of it as an emollient or a moisturizer, but I'd argue that it's so much more than that. Through our biofermentation process, the squalane that we make is a higher purity than some of the other plant sources that are out there. We have 20 times fewer impurities than other sources. And also when it comes to performance, we have a wealth of data showing that it's more than a moisturizer, that it does help with moisturization, but it also helps with barrier repair. It also helps with cell renewal. It also supports the microbiome. There's just so much more it can do. When we think about how biofermentation helps with the consistency in supply and quality, there's a lot of the benefits that I had talked about previously. There's no shortage in supply, so it's going to be always available. And you're also always going to get that high quality every single time from lot to lot. And then when we look at the sustainability impact of our process for Neosance squalane, again, fewer resources ultimately. When you look at it compared to some other plant sources out there, in order to make 1 kilo of squalane, we use 585 times less land resources and also 52 times less water. And so really just highlighting the benefits of kind of being able to deliver it all. The high purity, high performance, a consistent supply and quality, and then the sustainability aspect. So again, that no compromise. So that's just one of the ingredients that we have at Aprinnova. A few of the other ingredients we have our Neosance hemisqualane, and this is going to be a much lighter ingredient than squalane, and it's great for a D5 or a dimethicone alternative, or lighter dimethicone alternative. Very good for hair care specifically. Also, if has great applications for cleansing, makeup removal, and even in skincare when you use the D5 for sensorial aspects, or spreading, even coverage. Hemisqualane can deliver those same results as well. We also have Clean Screen Z60SF. This was our solution to brands looking for a clean mineral filter. So this is a non-nano zinc oxide that's silicone-free, petrochemical-free. It provides both UVA and UVB protection, broad spectrum protection, and it's the zinc oxide in our squalane. So not only do you get all the SPF benefits, but also some of the moisturization and additional benefits from the squalane itself. And then lastly, we have our Simply Solid. This is a really innovative ingredient. I would say it's a little unique on the market. It's a blend of the top two of our squalane and our hemisqualane with some polymers. And so it is a solid at room temperature, a transparent solid at room temperature. So if you were looking to make a solid product, a stick or even a bar, this would be your starting point. So those are the four ingredients we have today to offer. We have a couple more coming out, I'd say early next year. And that's us. I'd be happy to take some questions, and also if you'd like to visit our website, we have a wealth of information there, or stop by our booth. It's actually booth 37, but we have samples there so you could feel the ingredients. We have some prototypes and our brochures as well. So thank you for your time. Any questions? Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. I'm just wondering about the inky for the 4 different products.
Yeah, so for the squalane itself, it's just squalane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The hemisqualane, so we call it hemisqualane because when you actually look at the molecule itself, it's half of a squalane molecule. So we had the scientist name that one, which the marketing people tell me was not a great idea, but you live and you learn. So this is actually an alkane. This is a C1315 alkane. Clean Screen, it's only 4 ingredients in the inky. That's squalane, silica, lecithin, and zinc oxide, of course. And then the Simply Solid, that one I don't have memorized. That one's a little longer. It does have the squalane, the C1315 alkane, and then a blend of polymers. So, but we do have that at our booth. If you'd like to stop by, I can give you a handout for that. Yeah. Great. Do you have a UK distributor? We do, yeah. So in the UK and all through Europe, we use Saffic Alcan. Yeah, they're our exclusive distributor in Europe. Yeah.
Are you seeing kinds of end products that Simply Solid is being used in change?
Yeah, so, I would say right before COVID started, we saw a lot of solid products being launched. And then even now, we're seeing that trend continue. And I think it comes from both now that people are going out into the world in a convenience standpoint. People see a lot of convenience in solid products. And also from a sustainability standpoint, because with solid products, you can reduce packaging. You don't necessarily need packaging for a bar, or even with the stick packaging, we're seeing a shift from plastics to either refillable, paper, aluminum. So we're continuing to see a trend in the solid aspect.